Thank you for joining me today on Culture Keys. Get set, get ready, let's grow.
And here we go. Welcome into Culture Keys. Today I'm fired up and highly caffeinated, ready to rock. I hope you're ready to learn and to grow. We've been talking, this is the third week we've been talking about our approach to the things that require or take no talent. Things like timeliness and effort and attitude and faithfulness. Think about the accumulative impact of a team that performs these details with great proficiency and with great consistency. What would it be like if everybody showed up on time, takes no talent? What would happen in a church, in a ministry, on a team if everybody showed up with apex attitude? If everyone gave maximum effort? When you have to coach attitude and you have to coach effort, it takes away from the depth that you're able to grow to. Things that take no talent. I want you to think about the impact on the culture of a team when you know everyone's given all in effort, when everybody's sold out all the way. Aristotle said these words: we are what we repeatedly do. We're the sum of the daily decisions that we make. And when you convert that into the world of ministry and the way that every team and team member should approach the details of their service, it's absolutely transformative to the culture in which they work and labor. And it's my belief, listen to this, that it's the failure of the little things that most threatens the vision of a church. You can tell when you walk in a ministry where it matters to the people that serve there. You don't have light bulbs off, stuff on the mess on the floor, the grass isn't, 6 inches high in the lawn. There's not weeds in the flower beds. The people sing on key. People are welcomed well and with great attitudes and energy. The little things matter. The little things matter. Leadership doesn't have to coach. Attitude, effort, timeliness. Now we can lean in on the deeper things. It's the little foxes that seem to always spoil the vine. It's a failure in the little things that require no talent. I think it's the way we go about the work that will define the work that is done. Let me say that again. The way each team member goes about the work will literally define the work that ends up getting done. Being proficient in the things that requires zero talent literally becomes a stage where the gift of God can transform lives. If there's no stage, then what becomes of the gift? Being proficient, consistent, detailed, disciplined in the things that take no talent becomes the stage where the gift that God's placed in us can transform hearts and lives. I've always been taught, and I've heard this from 1,000 places, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. Let me say that again. Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. I think we can be talented, and I think that God hands out gifts and talents and abilities, and I'm thankful for a ministry where I feel like we have gifting and talent at a lot of levels. What I don't think that we have, and I think it's an epidemic, not just in our church, in our ministry, but in life, in every church, is that we have to coach things you shouldn't have to coach. We have to try desperately to pull effort out of people, good attitudes, timeliness, these things that require literally no talent, but they do require a maturity in character and a willingness to give example to great discipline. Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. How many gifts are spoiled and never really realized because of a lack of discipline? It's our discipline to be proficient at the things that require no talent that will allow our talent to be used for His glory and for the good of the people that we serve. Our discipline is what creates a stage. It's our willingness to be good at the stuff that takes character, not talent, that will really allow our giftings and talents to be used for God's glory. And I've talked about this in, I think it was last week, that we're much more comfortable talking about the gifts of the Spirit than we are the fruit of the Spirit. And the reason is simple. Gifts are free. Fruit is the result of process. And the process always includes the development of our character, which can be incredibly painful. It can be incredibly difficult for us to allow God to mature our character. Character is the mental and moral qualities that is distinctive to an individual. It's the way somebody thinks and feels and behaves. And the problem with character is that it's normally built through faith and the practice of the Word in conjunction with the difficulties that we experience in life. Our difficulties become opportunities for us to practice faith and obedience, which in turn builds character. Are you with me? I've just taught you something important. There's a process here that's incredibly important. You think you're just coming to learn the Bible. Listen, if you're in a real Bible teaching church, you know what comes with that information you're being delivered every week? A challenge in your life that gives opportunity for you to take that information and put it into practice, which in turn builds and strengthens and matures your character. Our character grows and matures as we're able to be proficient in these things that require no talent. Let me give you a reference out of Romans chapter 5, verse 3 through 5. These are the words of Paul, and he says this: not only that, but we also glory in tribulation, knowing, watch this process, that tribulation produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character gives birth to hope. And hope doesn't disappoint because the love of God has been poured out in our hearts by the Spirit who's been given to us. Paul says, we glory in tribulation because that becomes an opportunity. Our tribulation produces perseverance. As we walk and labor in consistency and faithfulness, that perseverance produces character. And the character is what produces the hope. And the hope is never disappointed because God's love's been poured out in our heart. Galatians 5:22 and 23 talks about the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And he adds, against which there is no law. And let's recognize what the fruit of the Spirit is. Write this down. The fruit of the Spirit is the character of Christ. The fruit of the Spirit is the character of Christ. Our character is what determines our habits. And our habits are how we support good character. Our character will determine whether or not we are proficient in the things that require no talent. Why do you think you got to encourage people to be on time, to have a good attitude, to give maximum effort, to be faithful, to be consistent? Because those things require character and they require discipline. But as we're disciplined and our character matures and grows, we're able to produce much greater fruit than we've ever produced before. And I'm going to tell you, as a ministry, just like this coach, given the secret sauce, Coach, what is the reason for your success? I'll tell you why. I was able to get a team on this page that they were committed to being proficient at the things that requires no talent. Bearing the fruit of the Spirit is necessary to the kind of habits that give birth to our best and most productive selves. And this is the character of Christ. When you read the 9 fruits of the Spirit, you're literally reading the strands of the DNA of the character of Christ. And I asked this before. If these are the fruits, what are the seeds? When were they sown? What was the seed that created love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, long-suffering, forbearance, kindness? It is our daily habits that will either steward or destroy the God-given gifts. I want you to write that down somewhere. My daily habits will either steward or destroy my God-given gifts. Your daily habits are how you steward, how you protect, how you multiply the God-given gift in your life. And you say, Pastor, I don't know if I'm gifted. Well, that's an impossibility because God gave something to everybody. You've just got to identify what that is and then create the discipline around that gift that enables it to grow, to multiply, and then to bear fruit in the life of others. Your daily habits will either steward or destroy your gifts. And when you don't have the support of daily habits, you're never going to be proficient in the things that require no talent. And let me just remind you of the things that don't take a lot of talent. Being on time doesn't take talent. Effort, prayer, faithfulness, bearing the fruit of the Spirit, serving in humility, worship. These are all things that literally require zero talent. I'm going to ask you, what keeps us from these things? Giving maximum effort, being on time, having a good attitude, being a good teammate, consistently showing up. What stands between us and success in these areas? What discipline do we need to employ around our gifts that gives birth to great character? I know these are weighty things, but as a team, think of the dynamic that we could create on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis if you didn't have to coach the things that take no talent. I want you to think on these things, and I'm going to take it up right here next week on Culture Keys.